Now, before we actually jump into this video, I just gotta say, this doesn't mean that I think the Jets should be going out there and making 1,000 trades right now. I'm just covering the facts, so I don't want to see a bunch of people saying that we should blow the team up already, and that's what I'm saying, because I'm not. I actually think this team has had some moments that I've really liked them. So let's just talk about the rumors as they are rumors. This isn't just my opinion being thrown out there, even though I am a little upset about this. But what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video here on Peg City Hockey. Welcome to another trade rumors breakdown regarding your Winnipeg Jets. And this is coming today from Elliot Friedman on the 31 Thoughts podcast, talking about the Winnipeg Jets and their surplus of defensemen. Now, that's something we all can unanimously agree on. It doesn't matter who you think should be in the lineup or whatever your thoughts are there. The Jets are, for a fact, have a ton of defensemen. When you even just look at the fact that they lost Jonathan Kovacevic for absolutely nothing after signing him on a 3-year contract, just because of the fact that they had so many guys, they just had to waive him, and he so happily got claimed and played some pretty meaningful games for Montreal, and, is going to be a decent depth defenseman in his career. You lost that for nothing because of the logjam that you've created at defense, and I'm sorry, but we'll get through this. I just got to say this early right now. The whole theme of this video is admitting your mistakes, and it just seems to be something this regime refuses to do when it comes to the trades that were made in last year's offseason with Nate Schmidt and Brendan Dillon and acquiring defensive talent. So without any further ado, let's jump in and go over exactly what Elliot Friedman said about the Winnipeg Jets. Here it is. I know you guys probably can't even see the whole thing because my webcam is blocking it, so I will read it to you, but the Winnipeg has a lot of D, and I think there's been some talk of, do they clear up the logjam? Do they make some moves to sort of free up a little bit? And, basically, I just think they've been told this, basically. Just because I think teams have called them. Teams that are short on D, I think, have called Winnipeg and said, what are you doing? So the league wants to know what we're doing because guys want our players. That's a good position to find yourself in. And I've been told that they're not doing anything just for the sake of doing it. They're just going to stand pat. They're going to, hey, we're going to wait and assess this as it goes. Newsflash, ladies and gentlemen. This team has problems. Now, I know I haven't been very critical in the recap reactions as of late, and honestly, that's just due to the fact that I don't have any expectations this season. I say it in every video, and I've said it in numerous videos leading up to this season, is that I've got no expectations this year, so if you subscribe to this channel to watch me rage about the Jets every night, it's not going to be a common thing this year, because even though they make me mad, what's the point on yelling when you have no expectations? That being said, I still think that this Jets team can be improved ever so slightly, and they could be a top team in the Central potentially. I think that they have the right coaching staff. They've got the right key players. They just need to reshuffle how they use the guys they already have and retool a little bit and, throw up some guys there. I think the right wing could desperately use some help up there, especially with some scoring. Why not move out a defenseman and just see what you can get out there? If you have GMs calling you, hey, what are you doing? What are your thoughts right now? Are you going to be making trades? What are you doing? What are you doing? And you're just going to say nothing and wait? You know what's going to happen? You're going to lose out on those teams because they're going to acquire talent elsewhere. Now, I know what you're thinking, oh, it's so early on in the year, blah, 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 and I get that and I agree with you. But at the exact same time, now is the opportunity to make a trade early on in the season and add to this team. Adding to this team right now, adding a good forward is not a bad thing. It's not going to throw a wrench into all these cogs and screw it all up even more than what you might think is the problems with the Jets. If anything, it might help this team improve more and mesh better under a new coaching regime, throwing in some new ears and some new perspectives into that forward core. Not to mention the fact that if you move out some defensemen, you've got some fantastic youthful guys down there and prospects that are going to jump up and are going to make some mistakes, but are more importantly going to get better in every game that they play at the NHL level. I don't know why people have this notion that if you're not ready to play in the NHL, more time in the AHL is better. Because at some point in your career, you will just become an AHL All-Star and you will cap out at that level. Because the skill level down there can only go so high. To improve your game even more, you need to be given opportunity. It's just that simple. Ville Heinola isn't some bum that doesn't deserve an opportunity. He's proven himself at every level. This isn't some guy that's new in the system either. He's done his time. Now, again, this isn't trying me harkening back on Ville Heinola because I think Declan Chisholm's another guy that should be closer to the NHL than where he is right now, but because of the logjam, isn't getting a real consideration. And how could you when you have Dylan Samberg being benched, not to mention the fact that you don't know what you're doing with Logan Stanley either? And you've got Kyle Capobianco, a pretty serviceable depth defenseman, just sitting down there wasting away. Why did you sign him in the first place? You have youthful depth that could replace him anyway, and you don't need that money. That money could be better spent elsewhere. You might be thinking it's a league minimum, and I get that, but that adds up when you look at trades and cap management. Every cent matters. All this proves to me with this management core is even early on into the season, they're seeing problems. They still don't want to do anything. They're still so passive that they would rather wait until it's impossible to recover than admit that they were wrong when they acquired the talent when they did, and just maybe take some losses. Maybe you don't get 2 seconds back for Brendan Dillon. Maybe you only get 1, and maybe a conditional 4th or something like that. At the end of the day, yeah, you drop back 2 picks or whatever, but in 2 rounds. But at the end of the day, if you're winning, is a 4th round pick that valuable? Really ask yourselves that. Now, I know the Jets are good at drafting, and I know that I've also been one to harken on, how good we've been in later round picks. I know it sounds like I'm, going against what I say. I know that. And I hear me out, though, with the rationalization I have for all this, basically, is that right now, you've got these players locked on contracts, and you really don't have a direction. You have a lot of youth down there, so as long as you're not trading prospects away, you've got young guys that are already on this team, too. Brad Lambert's going to be great. Chaz Lucius is looking great with the Moose. Cole Perfetti's been great so far. Rutger McGroarty looks like he could be a really good guy, too. The list goes on with interesting forward prospects and just defensive prospects, too. So why not try to win, cut your losses on some bad trades, and go out there with this core and make one more push before you really have to retool it and you lose a lot of the faces of this franchise due to age and expiring contracts? This just doesn't make any sense to me. It just frustrates me more than anything because it's typical Jets hockey. This fundamental idea that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, until it's too broken to the point where, hell, we can barely even win a hockey game anymore, then we'll fix it. Admit you're wrong now and see what happens. What's the point on waiting? I just don't understand anymore. And I'm not talking about making massive trades. Brendan Dillon isn't a massive trade. That's a top 4 defenseman that's okay and aging. That's not going to destroy the fundamentals of this team in the locker room. Nate Schmidt wouldn't either. Just look at moving out someone. There's such a big logjam. The defense is playing so mediocre as it is. Now's the time to act when it's early and try to make these changes now before it's too late and you lose another season and you're just picking 10th or 12th again in the draft. What's the point on that? How many times can you hit on a 10th or 12th pick? It's just, why take those risks countless times? I want to see this team succeed, and I know that they can. They just got to get their head out of their asses and start making real decisions and admit when you're wrong. Admit when you made a bad mistake, admit a bad trade, move on from that trade, and try to win now. Because the future, you have no idea what it's going to be. No one can predict the future. So you might as well try to do something right now and make your team better, because what the hell's the point on holding out just to see if you might get an extra conditional pick in a trade? So that's my end of my rant there. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Do you feel like I'm overreacting? Do you agree with me? Do you feel like this is just a, even if this doesn't lead to anything with trades right now, this just sets a bad precedent for the rest of the season that they're still too passive to make changes? What happens if Dubois starts to get upset and we don't know about it and the organization's just like, hey, let's just see what happens, and then we get to a point where he's publicly demanding a trade and all that drama happens? These are just possibilities that this organization, by the looks of things, seem to not care about. So let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. As always, if you're new to this channel and you enjoyed my thoughts, definitely drop a like and subscribe regardless of the team that you root for. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great rest of your day. Peace and positivity as always. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Check out the affiliate links down in the description below. And go Jets go.